Hello and welcome to the BlueBrixx News, the weekly show on all things brick building, where we talk about set updates and announcements from all the major brands, MOCs of the week, and a few reading recommendations as well. Information is presented as always by setdb.org, the best source for set information on the internet. I am actually today in a new audio setup here, so I do apologize if the audio quality is not on point today. And I'm also a day late, and the simple reason is that I'm currently right in the middle of renovations over here, so please apologize for that up front. However, that being said, let's move in. And we will actually start first with Area X. Here we have 4 new SpongeBob SquarePants sets that are now available over in China from Chinese retailers. These are basically 4 small houses. Area X, or Sembo is actually the other brand of that company. They have published multiple sets and multiple different series around the SpongeBob license. I would even argue, I guess, 80% nowadays of SpongeBob, which is actually a license that is widely available throughout different brands, but most of them have been actually done by Sembo and Area X. Actually, we do have a couple of reviews on the site. In case you're interested, you may want to check them out. Just go to merlinsbricks.com/articles or setdb.org and then just click on the navigation here on articles as well, and then you can check this out. Anyhow, we have these 4 new buildings. They are roughly in the same ballpark, around 300 to 400 pieces. And they're gonna cost you around $20 to $25. So in the past, at least the Area X sets that I've looked into, they had very high brick quality, and basically all of the pieces were pet printed. So I assume this is the case here, and in this case, I guess it justifies the price point. Anyhow, 4 sets. So first of all, we have this bubble or this yellow building with SpongeBob. Then we have Mr. I don't know, this star guy. I'm not so deep into SpongeBob, my apologies. Anyhow, basically the color scheme, of course, is in this light rosé tone. Then we have the yellow blue one, Rhythm Dance, that's the 58. And then, of course, Mr. Crab, that's actually the one I do know next to SpongeBob, the 59, Rolling in Money. With that, moving on to BlueBrixx. Actually, yesterday when I recorded, I did manage, even despite our innovations, to do the German session first. And yesterday, of course, was April 1st, so this is BlueBrixx April Fool's joke of this year. So actually, I do believe I made a pretty good show yesterday. So even most of my audience, it seems, believe that this actually happened. But I guess because it's April the 2nd now, that's not fun anymore. But anyhow, they have made the Blaustein Castle tourism expansion. They even said on their own website that this is a lost expansion and basically means, hey, let's take your Blaustein Castle, and instead of being a medieval castle, let's make this a tourist attraction, even including let's break this thing down into a little bit of rubble and ruins, which actually is quite a lot of effort they put in here, right, to change the entire design. My understanding is, I haven't seen it myself, but I've been told that BlueBrixx in their own YouTube channel, they actually also said if there's a real demand for this thing, they may even be willing to produce it. But to my knowledge, this ad will never see shelves. But let's see about it. I mean, they gave it a number. They definitely invested quite a lot of effort into designing it. So maybe they took it a little bit too far and maybe too expensive to be a pure April Fool's joke. So let's see what they make about it. But something that I said yesterday on the German show is actually definitely true. I mean, this could be an interesting way to integrate a castle like this into your modern day city by having or basically making this a tourist attraction. Anyhow, 108925, the steam engine model, another set that they announced, a BlueBrixx special with 1191 pieces. As far as I can tell, mostly system bricks, but it also has a little bit of Technic in there, I guess, in order to have a certain functionality. So I guess you can move this thing a little bit and use it maybe to explain a steam engine to your kids. With that, moving on to a steampunk magpie bird, 108461. Again, an announcement. This is going to be a BlueBrixx Pro set with 555 pieces, a ton of I guess it's metallic gold, not pearl gold in there, which I think is a great color, especially if you're going into steampunk. I also assume that this very large dish that they have here is pet printed, because this is usually what the BlueBrixx Pro sets are. Then we have the fire brigade, parking garage, fire vehicle with wrecked car. Whoa, that's quite a mouthful. 108922. Actually, I'm pretty sure the German name was a lot shorter. I don't know why they went for this very large name. Anyhow, so this is a BlueBrixx special with 411 pieces. So I'm not really sure these things work. I mean, if you look at this picture right now, you have basically a fire vehicle towing a car that is still burning. That sounds a bit weird to me. My guess is that the idea is that you have two different options, right? You can make this a car towed by the fire vehicle, or make this like a burning car, and then you have, I don't know, a fireman crew moving in, distinguishing it, something like that. I'm not really sure, but long story short, I'm pretty sure that, I mean, I've never been a fireman myself, but I'm pretty sure they will not tow a car out of a garage that is still burning. But I may be wrong here. Anyhow, maybe it's also an April Fool's joke that I didn't understand. But okay, let's move on. 108924, scaffolding, transport, hook, lift truck. 108924. BlueBrixx folks are really, really good with their set names. Anyhow, at the end of the day, it's a truck with a hook, and then you have also this kind of container piece here. And yeah, it looks pretty nice, actually, pretty neat, quite small. I know it's not small, it's like slim. The truck feels a bit off when it comes to the width. At least that's how it feels like. I guess they wanted to go for 6 studs, and this is how they did it. But yeah, at the end of the day, a lot of flexibility here with this truck. And then they have a ladybug, lady beetle. 108, 118, 113, I'm sorry, my apologies. This is actually not a small set. It has only 483 pieces, but there are pretty large slopes in here. In fact, the ladybug is 16.5 by 20.5 by 8.5 centimeters, and I'm sorry, but I don't know what that is in inches. But it's not a small bug, definitely. So if you're into this, I mean, Lego did this, I think it was an idea set, right? This insect set. So if you're into insects, especially large ones, and you want to brick build them, this may be for you. It's a BlueBrixx Pro set. And then we have 2 more plum tree sets. My understanding is, so they have already, I think I talked about last week, a winter set. So now they have also an autumn set and a summer set. I was told by somebody who was pretty good at counting BlueBrixx numbers that he assumes there will be a spring set as well, because the number is already reserved by BlueBrixx. But let's see if that actually goes. Anyhow, you have here the autumn one, which of course is a beauty. Again, it's 3 trees like in the other set. 108, 902 is this one here, 441 pieces. And what I find quite interesting, but a nice design choice, is that they also cut a little bit of limb elements in there. I guess this is supposed to show you the transition, right, from summer into autumn. So not all the leaves are done yet, so to say. But I think next, besides the bark itself, the wood, which is dark tan, they changed all the colors and also changed the design a little bit. In fact, all of these sets have very different piece counts. Because of course the whole foliage is much more lush, if you will, during summer. And also they changed the groundwork. So in this case, for instance, it's olive, and the limb elements are a mix of yellow and orange. And then the summer set 108901, which has actually a lot more pieces than the other ones, 591. One of that could be that they have actually a lot of plums on the tree, replicated or shown with 1x1 round plates. And then the green the tree itself seems to be, I guess this is bright green, or maybe it's just a regular green. Yeah, I guess it's a regular green. Anyhow, we have now, like I said, if you go in the set to be, for instance, under trees, check out BlueBrixx. So we have now the winter version, which has only 318 pieces, because of course there's not much foliage anymore. And then you have the autumn version with 441. and then the summer version with 591 pieces. So with that, moving on to Cobi, I guess for the international audience, not that interesting. Just as a quick update, 1x35 cars over here in Europe. 3 more are now in pre-order with multiple retailers, and this is T2 buses by Volkswagen. All in all, they're making a ton of these. I think I counted yesterday 7 T2 Volkswagen buses in this scale from Cobi are supposed to come to market, already on its way. So these 3 are the newest ones that are now in pre-order. Just as a quick update, usually when we have them over here in Europe, a couple of months later, you should have them across the pond as well. 24619 is the ambulance or German Krankenwagen. And then you have the regular one in a nice and fancy orange, 24621. And then you have the fire brigade one, or German Feuerwehr, 24622. All of them going to cost you $26, and that's the Cobi list price. And then they have between 150 and 170 pieces. This does sound like a lot of money per piece. Keep in mind, though, that Cobi with these 1x35 cars is using very large pieces for this entire front and back section usually, and also for the windows. So regular bricked, in quotes, is usually just the chassis in the center with these kind of cars. With that, moving on to Funhole, and here we have a new set that actually is not yet confirmed by Funhole itself, but actually by Chinese. I've actually picked this up from Chinese retailers. Funhole will basically on the vacation series have a new set, a sailboat 9074. So now you can go on vacation with Funhole, not by land only, but also by sea. It's gonna cost you in Asia for basically around $100 US, depending on if you want a box or not, which I actually with Funhole is not a bad idea because they make pretty nice boxes. Anyhow, it's a sailing yacht. I mean, this is again from Chinese retailers, so this is not yet the Western/English box art that you see here, but I guess you get the idea. So what is quite nice, I think, I mean, of course it's Funhole, so there is lighting included, position lights, but also interior lighting, and the interior is relatively easy accessible because they have the upper deck basically and completely removable, including the rig. So which I think is a nice move. This should make it relatively easy to access the interior, and especially with all the lighting and everything. This sounds like a good idea because there's a lot of stuff to show. I mean, I think I really like how the interior is designed based on what I can tell here based on the pictures. However, it seems like most of the time with Funhole, there is a certain lack of studs to get your minifigures attached. But I think, well, you know, if you really want it, there is a way. As far as I can tell based on this picture that I'm showing right here, there's also you're also able to open up the side wall to have a sneak peek at least into the master bedroom, which is quite nice. So all in all, quite a beautiful design. By the way, when I talk about, you know, what you see here, just as an FYI for those all of you who just listen to the audio version next to YouTube, I usually also upload this show as video version on TikTok. I know TikTok's not really a long form platform, but it does work actually up to an hour. If I manage to stay below an hour, I can do it. But I also have a video version on Spotify. So I think on Spotify with the app, same as with YouTube Music, I think there's a relatively easy way to switch between audio and video version. Basically listen to audio and just check out the video in case, for instance, I'm referencing something seen like I just did. Anyhow, let's move on to Happy Build / Power Block, or the brand Power Block. That is actually kind of, I just put it below Happy Build, like I've said many times in the past. And here we have 3 other cars. In this case, basically trucks, hot rods, I don't know, not that much into that, but we have 3 of those trucks. So first of all, we have the light blue one that's actually called Steel Blue 8840. I assume it's BlueBrixx pieces, and we have the typical quality as we are used to by this manufacturer. Most of the pieces that you see printed are actually pet printed. If I recall correctly, I built once one of the Toyotas from this brand, and if I recall correctly, there was no sticker included in those. Anyhow, we have the steel blue one, 8840. Then we have Street Fury, a dark blue one, 8841. And then Freedom Cruiser, a yellow one, which actually looks quite nice. All of them come with these shipping container lookalike boxes, which I think are really beautiful and much cooler than, for instance, what Mould King has. However, because they have pretty good pieces, pet printed, and have this box, they also come in a beautiful packaging. They cost a pretty penny. So in Asia, you can actually buy them for around $27 US. With that, we are moving on to the Shire. Like I said last week, basically this stuff was coming out while I was recording the show. I think it was already out when I published the show last week. My apologies. Like I said last week, Lego refuses to follow my guideline on when to release stuff. But what I can tell you is, and this is old news now, the Shire, which is actually, when you hear this now, is already available. I actually was in the Lego store this morning, picked it up. 10354. So I will have a live stream tonight. I'm streaming this actually on my German YouTube channel. It's going to be in German, so my apologies on that one. But I can tell you, I will build it. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm not that excited about it. I've said this. No, I think I rambled around yesterday in the German show. Personally, I think it's not a good design. I'm really not happy with it. Usually I don't get emotional, but I think Lord of the Rings is something that I really believe Lego should get right. I mean, Rivendell was an amazing set. I guess the best set Lego made in the last decade. Barad-dûr was already mediocre, to say the least, and this one here is, I don't know. Personally, I think based on the pictures right now, again, I haven't built it yet, it's quite bad. I really don't like this very rough slope design that they used out here. I already didn't like it in Lion Knight's Castle. However, with Lion Knight's Castle, there was just a little bit of slope work and then was a ton of castle on top of it. Here, the entire set is using these ugly curved slopes, which I really don't like. I think the trees are a joke. The tree that is below this dragon piece, I guess it's the ugliest tree Lego has ever made. I don't know what is going on there, but this is awful. They should have gone at least with the tree design from the Endor set, which was already not that nice, but a lot better than this one here. I mean, this is weird. But also the tree on Bilbo's house is just, I don't know what's going on there. And then, from the back, I mean, I said yesterday, and I think I stand by it, my 8-year-old could do a better design than this. I mean, this is just ugly. So I don't know. I think the minifigures are cool. It's Lord of the Rings, so that's great. The entire idea, having Bilbo's house. I mean, I don't know why they call Bilbo's house the Shire. Which I think is an overstatement by far. I mean, the Shire is basically like a country, and here they just have a house and half a party. But yeah, long story short, I'm not happy with this. I think the price point is what it is, $270. That's for sure not cheap, but my bigger problem is that I really don't like the design. However, we will come to this with MOCs of the week. Already the community is picking this up. And at least a couple of, from my point of view, mandatory fixes are already on the way on Rebrickable. And I think we see a lot more. For me, this set is a starting point to build Bilbo's house and the party, but not the set. Anyhow, let's move on. Mould King, here we have 2 clocks now showing up in Asia. 10159 is the Cyberpunk clock. This is not a small set. 3,181 pieces. It's remote controlled, so there are motors in it, and you pay roughly $160 US for it in China. Again, as always, when I name Chinese prices, that depends, of course, a lot on where you live, customs, shipping, etc. The prices that I show on Setibi is, as always, usually the price for including shipping into Central Europe / Germany, because this is where I'm located. So I picked this one, but it really depends. Anyhow, this is not a small set, like I said, almost 12 by 22 by 7.5 inches. For those of you who are in the metric system, you can see the numbers right here. It's quite large. It has a ton of functionality, a different As you can see, minutes and seconds, hours, day-night deal, moon phase dial, not deal, dial, I'm sorry. English is still not my first language, but there is a date dial, a day-night dial, and a moon phase dial. And you can adjust the hour by hand. Anyhow, there are 2 motors included as well as a control module. And then you have a smaller one, they call it the engine clock, 10187. Like I said, was one a lot smaller, 1601 pieces, so roughly half of it. And it's 8.5 by 13 by 6 inches. And yeah, it's basically engine themed. So you have like 6 cylinders, I guess, down below here, exhaust and everything. So yeah, if you are into clocks, then this may be for you. As you can see in this picture, and I guess this is true for the other one as well, for the Cyberpunk clock, is they also have an app. So I guess you can control it by remote, because usually, I think every Mould King set I had so far also included a remote. But there's also an app, and as you can see here, Mould King is even saying that they have an exclusive operation interface. So similar to what Lego is doing nowadays with their motorized Technic sets. Anyhow, we also have 2 trucks. First of all, the Night Truck 10036. So this is a system truck, basically. So not Technic, 1604 pieces. It is 5 by 5 by 14 inches, so not that small. And you can buy it actually from different Amazon marketplaces, but also directly from China for around $65 on euros in this case. I don't know why sometimes my software is picking up euros and sometimes dollars US, but I guess it doesn't matter that much. Anyhow, yeah, it's a white truck, it's system built. I guess it's a racing truck, and it has also steering as a function, but of course, because it is not a Technic set, functionality is not in focus here. They have a much bigger truck as well, the K100 Aerodyne tractor truck 13202. So this thing actually has, next to the servo, 2 motors. My guess is both of them are just for moving this thing forward, but I actually don't know. Anyhow, it has 2,182 pieces, 130 euros, which is not too shabby, but I guess I'm not really sure if that price sounds a bit cheap to me, or the price sounds a bit low if the electronics are included as well, but this is at least how it looks like. Anyhow, you have here the truck. Because I'm not really into trucks, I don't really know what the, let's say, reference model for this one is, what this is supposed to be, but it's not a small animal. As you can see here, it's almost 41 centimeters in length. That is roughly 16 inches. So it's not a small truck, and it can drive, which is pretty cool. With that, we are done with set updates for this week. And now let's come to a reading recommendation. I did build and review a MOC actually this week, 196046, so that's a replicable number. The ATRT Walker by Pixel Dan. Minifigure scale art ATRTs is something that Lego has tried many times, and from my point of view, I never really liked them. They all look a bit too primitive, too simple, but especially I always had the feeling, I actually never, measured it, but it almost felt like for instance, in the 501 set, they felt too big to me, sometimes too small, too primitive. So I don't know, Pixel Dan has done this amazing MOC that only uses 132 pieces and has a ton of detail into it. I think for all of you Star Wars fans out there, don't need to talk about what the ATRT Walker is. We have seen this, I think, the very first time in episode 3 when they were hunting Yoda, if I recall correctly. And then, of course, it had, an important role in Star Wars The Clone Wars, especially. Anyhow, Pixel Dan's ATRT actually is a pretty solid design. It looks really amazing, looks very detailed. He's actually offering instructions for multiple different colors. I decided to go for the neutral gray one because I haven't decided yet if this is supposed to go with any special legion. But like as the name suggests of the MOC, he has different color schemes, like in red, blue-green, I guess. Let me just briefly check. No, orange, yeah. So he has an orange version as well, a blue version. But of course, you could also throw some dark red in here. And then, I don't know why Rebrickable is not loading the image. You could also throw in some dark red, which actually is something that I may want to do. So you have to run it around on Kerosene with the Kerosene guard, stuff like that. Anyhow, it was a pretty nice build. I really enjoyed doing it, and I actually built 6 of those. On my pictures, you can only see 3 because they are going into my Kerosene MOC. With that, moving on to MOCs of the week, and here we have the Corner Castle B&B, or the Bed and Breakfast, a modification of 42638, so the friend set by Brick Artisan. Actually, you have to throw in 2 of these friend sets, but I don't know how it is in your region of the world, but over here in Central Europe and Germany, usually these friend sets go with enormous discounts. With Amazon and other online retailers especially. So sometimes you can make quite a steal here, and then you have to throw in 590 extra pieces and you basically get yourself a modular that is very detailed and I guess still a bit cheaper than just buying a regular Lego modular. Anyhow, Brick Artisan is selling the instructions for $18 US, and I think, yeah, there's a ton of detail in here, a lot of charm, and yes, you have to throw an additional 600 pieces, but I'm also pretty sure some, pieces will remain and can go into your collection. However, if all of that is just too puny and small for you, too tiny, and for whatever reason you want to go really big, you could build the Silent Mary by Heffel 15,684 pieces for this giant BMOS. The designer is asking for 60 quid for the instructions. However, I'm pretty sure, 60 British pounds are the least of your problems if you want to acquire almost 16,000 Lego bricks. But it does look pretty cool. And I guess it is so enormous. I don't even know, is there something around the size of this thing? Yeah, I mean, it's just 130 centimeters. Don't ask me again. I can't do it out of my head what that means in imperial, but it's long. 40 centimeters width. That is amazing. Basically means an IKEA Besta shelf. That's 40 centimeters precisely. And it's almost a meter in height. So you basically need several IKEA Besta shelves to get this thing, somewhere. But yeah, it looks really nice, a lot of detail, pretty cool. And then I already talked about the problems of the Shire set. As far as I can, again, I haven't built it yet, so maybe my conclusio is too premature. But what I can definitely tell is that Rebel Neely already came to the rescue and designed multiple extensions. So first of one is just making Bilbo's party bigger so that you can have the dancing scene, you can have a band. 565 pieces, relatively small extension, but I think, yeah, it's already giving a lot more depth to Bilbo's party. And then he has also another one, which I think is kind of almost mandatory, and this is just fix the trees. And here, Rebel Neely is throwing in 1,469 pieces, the Lusher trees, or Lusher, the right word. And yes, it already in his mock-up here, I guess he hasn't built this set himself yet, but based on this design here, it looks already a lot better. I mean, this is kind of mandatory. I mean, actually the tree, at least the way they show it in the movie, when I read the books back in the day, I always expected it to be humongous. But I think in the movie, the tree that they use is not that big in relation to the hill. But anyhow, I think this is an amazing design, and I think also the large tree of the party, definitely a great addition. I mean, like I said, the tree that is currently in Lego's design almost looks like an insult. Anyhow, amazing extensions. However, as you can already see, it means 2,000 additional pieces just to get, at least the biggest problems fixed. And I think, don't get me started on the hill itself. Like I said, for me, this set is a starting point for a MOC. It's not a finished build. Exclamation mark. Anyhow, let's move on to a new SKC Lego design. 2,538 pieces for the Xiaomi Zoo 7 Ultra. 1x10 scaled vehicle. The instructions, it seems, are free of charge. That's a nice touch. And yeah, I think it's a really beautiful design. I'm really, like I've said so many times, I'm not a petrol head, so I have no idea how authentic this thing is, but it looks very nice to me. That's why I picked it for this week. Beautiful design by SKC Lego. And then we have, and this actually I know a little bit about because I just saw this thing last year. I visited Rome last year, and yeah, this thing looks really authentic. I actually can open up this picture. This already shows you. I mean, the Italian flag was kind of, something that the designer did, but you can of course easily, just don't do it in case you want to get even closer to the original. But I think it has 3,100 pieces, but I think the building techniques used are a good replication considering the detail, etc., in order to replicate the original from Constantine the Great. 1250 quid. I think that's not too much to ask for such a beautiful MOC. And then last but surely not least, another take on a midi-scale Venator class, Republic Attack Cruiser by BlueBrixx 34, 625 pieces. So basically follows the scale and design language of Lego's Starship collection, as they call it nowadays. And of course, I'm pretty sure that a lot of folks really loved the Acclamator class assault ship. Not because Lego did an amazing design here, but because it's the Acclamator, but however, everybody wanted a Venator. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I mean, the Acclamator is a great ship. You see it in the movie, in the second movie. But, the Venator is the real deal, right? I mean, let's be honest. Anyhow, 750 quid by BlueBrixx. I think it's a pretty nifty design. Comes with a stand and everything. Should go very well with the Starship collection. With that, we are done. My apologies again for potentially not the best audio quality. Like I said, currently I really have to look into how I fix this or make this better here. But for the time being, this is what we have to go with. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. As always, it's highly appreciated. Wherever you listen to this or watch this, like, comment, subscribe, follow, rate, whatever is called on your podcast or video platform. Please support the show. And with that, thanks for listening. See you next week.